Set the stakes for me. What happens tomorrow? Why is it important?
Tomorrow, Alicia, this Manic Monday, as I've been calling it, is like a very telling day for Donald Trump in two ways. It's going to determine the when and where of when both Fani Willis's case and Jack Smith's election interference cases, right? There's sort of the twin pillars of election interference litigation right now facing Donald Trump, how those cases are going to be tried. And so on one hand, you've got Judge Tanya Chutkan, who you didn't speak about in your introduction. She's largely expected to set a trial date for Jack Smith's election interference case tomorrow. And simultaneously, you've got Mark Meadows in a federal district court in Georgia arguing as to why Fani Willis shouldn't be able to prosecute her RICO case against him and 18 other co-defendants in state court, but rather should be in federal court. I should note that hearing tomorrow, even though Congressman Raskin is right that overall President Trump and his allies would like to be in federal court, given that they stack them with their allies and Federalist Society cronies. The hearing tomorrow is before an Obama nominee named Steve Jones, and it'll be interesting to see how he receives the removal motion that Mark Meadows has made.
Let me ask you, if you were the other co-defendants, what is it you are watching for tomorrow? And how does that potentially, if you are the legal team of one of those co-defendants, reshape your approach to the initial stages of this case?
So there are a couple of other people who have also moved for removal, but to the extent that any of them have a good argument, I think Mark Meadows has a better argument than just about any of them. I don't want to say that it's a great argument, but it's definitely not a frivolous one. He essentially has to demonstrate that he was acting either as a federal officer or under color of law, and that his case presents a question of federal law. And in Meadows' case, what he's going to argue is that all the things that he was doing were sort of endemic to his role as the White House chief of staff. So if tomorrow's arguments don't go well for Mark Meadows, if I'm John Eastman's lawyer, for example, or if I'm some of the other lawyers for people who have made removal motions like Sean Still, I'm going to take away from that. It's not likely to go that well for me. And if my resources are constrained, maybe I withdraw my notice of removal and just decide to sort of concentrate my efforts on the Georgia state courts if Mark Meadows loses tomorrow.
Matt, I don't know if you heard me trip up multiple times on the word case because the word campaign is so high on my mind since these things are happening in tandem. You have the Trump campaign. It says it has raised more than $7 million since he was booked at the Fulton County Jail. It's profiting off of the mugshot. They are selling everything from T-shirts to beer koozies. I mean, to circle back to the question you and I talk about all the time, they are not leaning away, Matt Dowd. They are leaning in.
No, I actually think it's apropos that you conflated case and campaign, because Donald Trump treats the cases like they are a campaign. So in reality, they are a campaign to him. I have always thought Donald Trump will have the resources he needs to run any kind of campaign he's going to run. He is the kind of candidate that can run a campaign primarily off of free media. He doesn't need a lot of paid media in the primaries since he has such a big lead. The question mark I have, and going to how the case intersects the campaign, is so far as we've seen from the polls, Donald Trump, as he's been indicted, has solidified his support. I have a question. If and when he is convicted, does that change the matter? Because keep in mind, the most vulnerable point in time of Donald Trump in this race, when it was close, was right after 2022, when he lost a series of key races. So do voters start seeing him differently if he starts losing cases? The problem is the timing of those cases. He may become the nominee by the time he gets convicted.